Up next, we have Teaching for Humanity, Building Educator Competencies in Moral and Global Citizenship.
ننتقل الآن إلى الجلسة الثالثة بعنوان التعليم من أجل الإنسانية، تمكين المعلمين في التربية الأخلاقية والمواطنة العالمية بإدارة الدكتور جيمس بادجر من جامعة نورث جورجيا، الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية.
Let's welcome Dr. James and all the panelists.
Well, hello, I hope you can hear me. And welcome to the session, Teaching for Humanity, Building Educator Competencies in Moral and Global Citizenship. My name is James Badger, and I'm in the College of Education at the University of North Georgia. Through research, I've explored teachers' values as well as school culture, global citizenship, and the SDGs. I've been to Jordan with my colleagues to coordinate workshops and conferences, one with QRTA, as part of a 3-year professional development program for English teachers, and this has been since 2021. During our time there, we visited English language classrooms and experienced Jordan's rich culture and history. The panelists and I welcome you to this session and welcome your questions or comments that you may have posted in the chat box. We'll save time at the end for your questions or comments before providing your words to the panelists and the questions. The format for the session, a brief introduction from our esteemed panelists, followed by questions for each to explore, maybe problematize the concepts and theories of teaching for humanity, fostering educators' competencies in moral education, and cultivating educators' competencies in global citizenship. In the next 40 minutes, we may reimagine our pedagogy through a changed theory, or, as Dr. Ladson-Billing said, we can't change our practice until we change our theory. With us this evening, we have Dr. Hannah Kanan, Principal Director at the International Academy, Amman, Mr. Abad Samlawi, QRTA CEO, and DJ West, Vice President of Academic Strategy at McGraw-Hill International. For each, would you briefly tell us about yourself before we move into the questions? Dr. Hannah Kanan.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Hannah Kanan. I'm the director of the International Academy in Amman, Jordan. And we consider QRTA as a sister center for us, and they are my neighbors. So I say hi to everybody in the office next door to us. I've been in education for the last 40 years, and I don't know how long I will continue. I've been the teacher since we were playing house when we were kids. And I have a passion for what I'm doing.
Thank you. Mr. Abed Shamlawi.
Thank you, Dr. James, and it's a pleasure to be with everyone this evening. Actually, my name is Abed Shamlawi, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Queen Rania Teacher Academy here in Amman. I'm pleased to be joining as the incoming CEO of QRTA. I've only been here in this position for maybe a couple of days only. But I've been with the Academy for the past 9 years. And over those 9 years, our passion for working with teachers and developing the skills and competencies of teachers has always been our driver to develop our new generation of students in schools. And this is really what we care about at QRTA and what we try to push every day in working with our teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations, welcome.
Thank you.
DJ West.
Did we lose him?
Do we have DJ West with us? Mr. West from McGraw-Hill International, Vice President of Academic Strategy. He may join us shortly. Well, the three of us will engage in these important questions and topics. I'd like to start with Dr. Hannah Kanan from the administrative perspective, looking at the school culture and leadership. Could you share with us your role? What role do you see school leadership and policy playing in ensuring alignment between international teaching practices and local values?
Yeah. This is an important question, as the international schools are mushrooming everywhere, and like they became like the type of if you have private education, it is international education. So in a sense, like we have local students going to international schools taught by international teachers and an international curriculum. And if you are not very careful, sometimes there is the danger of having a dissonance between the expatriate or the imported curriculum and the local culture. So for us, our role is to be very careful in two aspects. First, we have to be careful that we have expatriate teachers who are coming to teach and help in opening the minds of our students. However, they are not familiar with the culture. And we have students who are being taught by expatriate teachers who are away from their families, sometimes away from their homes, sometimes they are the first time abroad. So this dissonance, if we are not very careful, might create a problem. But when there is the element of the respect, and when the values of the community, now in the international schools, it is a special community from everybody, the parents, the administration, the students, and the expatriate teachers. When there is a common value, when there is the foundation, the pillars of the school, and there is a common culture, then this fear would immediately disappear. Now, at schools in general, not only in international schools, to be ethical or to be moral or to be a leader at such an institution where you want really everybody to feel at ease and to feel respected. Ethical and moral leadership is very, very important. And when we talk about ethical leadership at schools, basically it embodies itself by empathy, by justice, by following the human rights, by caring, by inclusion. All these are elements that they are together. They create an atmosphere of everybody is behaving according to certain norms, certain values, and ethically and morally. Let me tell you, Dr. James, something like when I was preparing for my doctorate degree, one of the core courses that I had to do as a graduate school was the ethics of education. At that time, I was not a practitioner as a leader in the school. I was a teacher aspiring to become a leader. I was surprised. Why would I do this course? But after finishing it and what I'm living now as a leader for an international institution, I know how important this course was in shaping my mindset and in instilling these values within our community.
If I may, you've talked about the dissonance between local values of the community and the expatriate teacher. What would be some examples of that? And does your school provide any professional development for them or for these individuals coming in? If you could elaborate on that briefly.
Yeah, Dr. James, it is a two-way thing. There is a dissonance from both sides. The students do not know much about the culture from where this teacher is coming or what this means, what this value means to them. On the other hand, it is the same with the teachers. So we have a very profound orientation program. And during that time, we talk about the essentials and the basic values that will be the glue for everybody on campus. So we do a lot of professional development. We do a lot of orientation. We do a lot of many activities that brings everybody together so that in no time, we feel that it is one community with shared values and shared pillars.
Thank you. Mr. Abed Shamlawi, forgive my pronunciation. How do you see schools strengthening the connection between learning and real-world community needs now, still on the school institutional level?
Thank you, Dr. James. Maybe it's easier to call me Abed because the first 3 or 4 letters are enough for me. The question really comes to mind of why do we learn? And this is maybe what teachers are actually should be thinking about when working with students. And this is where the school can be handy or can develop activities for students to actually engage with the community. Our recent experience at QRTA has been in developing an entrepreneurship and innovation program where students engage in real-life examples and modeling their ideas and their thinking in their community. And that becomes in problem-solving skills, for example, developing new models of innovation, developing business ideas, and moving those ideas into their community to serve their community. So this is a mix between learning at the school in terms of the different subjects, Arabic, English, math, and science, and utilizing those skills that they learn in those subjects in actually modeling activities within their community. So this combination of activities is an interesting model that we've been applying. And that also applies in several other models, like STEM education, for example. So end of the day, what we learn in different subjects is really to serve a purpose within the community. And that's what we try to model in our activities.
On the last point, Abed, the serving a purpose within the community, could you explore that, develop that a bit more for us?
Sure. So one of the ideas that we've always thought is finding a problem and finding different solutions for it. So teachers are actually encouraged to explore with their students different ideas within the community. And that starts from an ideation exercise, for example, that teachers can utilize with students to come up with ideas from the community and then work on different solutions and possible solutions within their community, and actually encouraging students to communicate with the community to actually to model those ideas. So that's an example of how we've been implementing some of those activities within the community and this interaction that we encourage. End of the day, each school has a different environment within the community, and students are encouraged to do that with their teachers within that community.
Thank you. Dr. Hana Kanan, we're exploring now the values and ethics of education and citizenship. Beside that are notions of justice and fairness. And how do you see that? In what ways can schools promote these principles, values of justice and fairness in diverse classrooms, where educators may come from different cultural, educational backgrounds, but thinking also about the diverse classrooms themselves?
Yeah, I always believe that inclusion is the game. It's like everybody to feel that they are included and not excluded. This is the first basic step for really ethical behavior. The other thing is that respect. The respect is like between every stakeholder on campus. Teachers respect the students respect the teachers, we respect the parents, parents respect administrators, and so on. Now, the values on campus are not an easy thing to create. You need time to elaborate this and to instill it, which will eventually become the culture of the school. As administrators, our role is to be role models in the school. And when they see that we are governed by policies, by procedures, there is no favoritism, everybody is receiving the same treatment, everybody is being respected, everybody is taking their rights as human beings, and everybody has at the same time duties and responsibilities. So this by itself is like, encouraging everybody to act ethically. Nowadays, Dr. James, we are having issues we never had in terms of ethics or ethical values, which was created by the technology. The previous session, they talked lengthily about the ethical use of technology and about cyberbullying, but I want to touch upon it. I can't talk about ethical or moral leadership without touching upon the technology. The technology is creating many problems. At the same time, it includes many benefits, and if it is used in the proper way. So we are focusing a lot on digital safety, and this is also part of the ethical and the moral behavior. Let me give you an example. For example, like, honesty is very important, especially at school, and to have the ownership of your behavior and your work. And since AI, there is a problem maybe in some of the schools about plagiarism and how much you can cite an AI page or something, for example. So it's not like we come directly to the students and say, like, like use AI. On the other hand, we need previously to prepare them. This is what artificial intelligence would offer you, how you should behave, how plagiarism should not be part of your homework. You have to cite any website that you refer to. You cannot use the technology to bully others, so even if it is outside school hours. So the dimension of what was like, the obligation of the administration 20 years ago is not what we face nowadays. It has changed recently, and there are more and more responsibilities. But basically also with the human resources on campus, how we treat the teachers and the message we send to the community. And if there is empathy, if there is sympathy, if there is understanding among each other, then the teachers will be relaxed. And when everybody is treated fairly, I think that this is the basis of the ethical and moral leadership at our schools.
Thank you. I just heard word that our third speaker, Mr. West, won't be joining us today, unfortunately. If I could just pose a follow-up question, how do you think, how can we, as schools, institutions, teachers promote these values called, here's a long list, honesty, compassion, fairness, justice, empathy, ellipsis, ... Are these values taught or caught?
Both.
Could you tell us what you mean by that as a school leader, and then your work with teachers? These values, the theme for the session today, are they caught or taught? And that's the distinction between the two. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, Dr. James, as you know, every school has pillars. Every school has a set of values. And every school have a mission and vision and essentials that everybody has to abide with. Around these pillars and around these values, some of the units that we teach, especially in the primary, is based on these values and these pillars. So this is the taught part. But the other part is that when the teachers in the classroom, they embody respect, they embody fairness, they embody frankness, then it is a taught behavior. Remember, like when we talk about teenagers, for example, I talked about children when we teach this as units of inquiry that, based on a certain value, to instill this value among the children. But when they become in their adolescence age, they become like the role model in their life is their teacher. And if they see the teacher is ethical, is moral, is respectful, has empathy, doesn't lie, being fair, being transparent, they model him or her. I have a firm belief of that. And so the same thing it is when they see the administration doing the same thing. And the teachers, when they see the administration, so it is a rolling effect. It starts from the leadership, then it comes to the teachers, it spells out to the students. And the students, maybe many parents tell me that, at home, when they discuss things with their parents, they use the words of but about fairness, about transparency, about telling the truth, about taking ownership of one's behavior, taking responsibility, and so on. So it's working.
Thank you. Yes. Abed, what are your thoughts on this? Values as being caught or taught, or a combination of both? How do you see that?
Thank you, Dr. James. Thank you, Dr. Hannah, as well. I also believe it's both. It's students, they're taught this within their subjects that they learn, but the activities that they implement with their peers is probably where they learn more of these skills. The practices they see at home, actually, are some of the things that they learn from, and they practice those skills. When they are asked within the community how they practice those skills, for example, the first thing, to be honest, of the skills that we, for example, implement in our program is empathy. So in order to understand a problem, you need to empathize with the community or with the case that you face. And then on that trigger, you start to actually analyze more. So empathy is one of the skills that we embody within our innovation and entrepreneurship program, for example. So that's in specific is something that students learn from. The other thing that we also mentioned is parents' behavior, and that is something that we also should keep in mind. And this is where the school relationship with the community and the school relationship with the parents actually plays a big role in actually putting those skills in action and understanding or promoting those skills within the community and to parents as well. So this is where the school, the community, the parents, and the students, they all complement each other. And we need to work together towards this. And that needs to be within the community as well.
I guess it's the question of how should educators model these values, these skills to inspire the active citizenship in learners? And you've touched on that. Could you give us some more examples or experiences, programs perhaps QRTA delivers for educators to think about this active citizenship through the modeling of the skills and values? And the second question is, what are these skills and values? We've heard of empathy and compassion and fairness and honesty. What others would you list in those top 5 or top 10 to foster active citizenship?
The list is not, in my opinion, I would say the list is not exclusive. So the list is actually developing as we develop as human beings. So we're seeing it today to be focused on for example, as you said, honesty, empathy, teamwork, even and communication. Understanding communication skills, critical thinking, for example, is a key item. Problem solving. So the question is how these skills are developing and what are new skills that are coming together within the science of learning that we need to think about and we need to implement within our schools, and how teachers can actually keep that in perspective and keep developing this in their learning and in their practice with their students. To be honest, it's a tricky question, because this is where it becomes the material, or I would say the curriculum, is fluid, and that's where you need teachers to become innovators and leading change or leading learning, rather than only practicing, for example, topics or subjects or set skills that teachers can embody. And from our experience, I would say that the way we do this within our programs, whether the professional diplomas that we work with teachers and school leaders, or the CPD programs, the continuous professional development programs, we do a number of activities. So we model activities within our programs that teachers implement in their school. And the best of those, I would say, as an example, sorry, maybe this has taken a bit long in terms of the answer, but the best thing is when teachers actually model the behavior of students, when teachers model the activities of students. So teachers are actually working on the activities as if they're working with their students, and they model these activities within their CPD programs, and then they model how to reflect those activities with their students and take it into practice. And then we continue on this with teachers to actually try and do field support visits and within their own environment, and help teachers implement those activities with students. I hope this answers it. Unfortunately,
Yes.
there is no closed answer to the set of skills that we want to keep developing in terms of citizenship, but it's great. I mean, we know a number of them right now, and we keep innovating actually on those and keep going at it.
Indeed, as a profession of lifelong learning or continuous learning, and from and through that includes what you've just articulated well, the professional development programs offered by QRT and other places. And this is I guess I'll ask our school leader, Dr. Hannah Kanan, that very question of professional development. Is it the most, or what is the professional development is the most effective way in preparing international teachers or teachers to navigate those cultural sensitivities and ethical expectations?
Yeah, but before I answer your question, I just want to add one thing about the values. If you want to add to the list of the values or the
Please.
ethical duties for the students and the teachers, which we should emphasize on, it is our obligation, and it is being ethical to the environment. And this is very important. I consider this ethical topic rather than it is like just the ozone and the environment. Like we always teach the students that you have a responsibility to live life livable to the new generations as you did. And this is part of another aspect of being ethical to the environment in all the practices. This is a long list of do and do not. So this is just an add to the values. Going back to the professional development and the best ways of professional development, I always say that the occupation of teaching is very similar to the medical occupation, where the best doctors are taught while practicing and in practicum, and not in lectures or in theaters or in closed class rooms. And this is why we call it apprenticeship. It is basically apprenticeship. So I think the best professional development is like, by training, by internship, by pre-service programs. And unfortunately, when there was no pre-service program for the teachers and they are already in the field, this should be followed by a post-service thing. And this is what we're facing in Jordan now. And this is, Abid can talk more about this more than I can do that. However, if we are modeling and we are a role model, and if there is an emphasis and there is like an insisting that we don't compromise this value, we don't compromise this is the best professional development for the teachers. The other thing is that we have among our staff, we have also local staff. And the relationship and the friendships that is created between the expatriate teachers and the local, this is professional development. They invite them to their houses, they eat together, they talk about values, they express about, they get to know each other as persons, as human beings, how they think, how they behave, what is of value for them. So this is also part of the professional development of the teachers, especially those who stay longer times, extended contracts.
Is there a problem with professional development? Just to problematize the concept of PD, and I'm wondering if you have any thoughts about that. And in contrast to PD, or alongside that, are the professional learning networks or professional learning communities that teachers may construct on their own. Do you have any ideas or thoughts on that, Dr. Hannah?
Yeah, for us, there is no problem. Sometimes I feel that there is a lot of emphasis on the academic program, and most of the PD is channeled, and the money is channeled to the organization who does the accreditation, who does the authentication, or who authorize the program. Like whatever curriculum you teach, there is a certain amount of PD for the teachers for that program or that curriculum. I believe that the investment and the money for PD should not be focused on this. We have these teachers, we hire them because they are professional, because they are trained, they have the degrees. For me, it is just involving them and helping them to adapt to the new environment they are in, and to believe in the ethics and the values of the institution they work in.
You rightly said earlier that the values and ethics of the institution they're in, but you made a direct connection to the environment and de facto the SDGs, for example. So it isn't just the institutional values and ethics as a citizen, but looking more broadly globally. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. This is why, like, you know, there are many schools are now, there is a program which is called the Eco Schools, where the school is having the green flag to show that the school is basically concerned about the environment, doing proper recycling, doing the compost. There are many ways of this. For us, it is the awareness, like where is the, you know, the when you have to switch on the light or to switch off the light, there is a sign saying that think twice before you do that. For example, this will be modeled in this at school, and then they will do this at home. And the thinking of the environment, and I want to leave it a better place for the new generations to come, is by itself again, I think, and it's very important, the environment. And there are many aspects at the school where we observe the environment and we instill the love of the environment and the respect and the obligation, the moral obligation, and hope we're successful. This should be non-stop. It's always in our minds.
Yes, we heard from the session before ours about digital safety, digital literacy, and less of the don'ts and more of the do's in terms of the technology that you cited earlier. Perhaps that could be connected to our chat now. Mr. Abed, your thoughts on this question of professional development, professional learning communities, professional learning networks?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Badger. Thank you, Dr. Hannah, actually, for highlighting the case of doing apprenticeship in the field, and that's where senior teachers and teachers with experience actually help new coming teachers actually adopt new skills and develop new skills. And the point you mentioned, Dr. Badger, about professional development and the best practices for professional development and how professional development reflects in the field. So there is a lot of professional development that is ongoing. And the question is, well, how do you identify good professional development from just theoretical professional development? It's really the question that we ask ourselves at QRTA all the time is how do you create impact? How do you create a legacy in the field? And how do you see those practices that we develop within the professional development training develop into practice in the field? And that's where actually what we do in terms of working with the teachers to implement those practices and to give them tools that they can implement. So instead of just a theory or, for example, a reading that they do, they need to implement activities with their students. And that's the impact that we always look at. So this is one example, and we keep doing this in cycles. And so the minute you work on cycles in terms cycle 1, 2, 3, in terms of how we do it, or module 1, 2, 3, and practicing this, when you do it more than once, it sticks. And that's really something that we always look after in the field in terms of professional development and how to implement this. The question is there a problem with professional development? I would say there are there are a lot of topics these days in professional development. So the question becomes for the teachers to decide on a path, on a professional development pathway that they take. So early in the career, they might need more skills around, for example, classroom management, active learning, and several other topics. Later on, they might need more practice in terms of how to develop activities that can engage students more and do more practice in the field, and slowly shift some of those activities into projects they implement with their students. So that's something that we keep looking at in terms of our professional development programs. And another item is to look for skills of the future. I mean, what we're talking today about in terms of skills that we just mentioned in terms of, though we're calling it citizenship, but it is really the same. It's those are the skills of the future AI, for example, and how to utilize it with the students to implement some of those activities is very interesting to explore in terms of implementation.
Yes, that's exactly right. I'm wondering, how can we design learning experiences that challenge, you mentioned this critical thinking, that challenge students to think critically, and as the theme that's come up in the conference yesterday and today, environmental problems, to critically think and solve authentic social and environmental problems?
Again, I mean, it's interesting because in some cases you would go through a professional development program and you find examples that are foreign to the community. And those are great examples because they embody whether international standards or international trends that teachers see. And those are very good to actually to be good opening topics for the students and for the teachers. But also we need to balance that with local input, or with local content. I would say from the community itself, because you need to see relevance. I'll give you an example. At one time, one of my kids was going through a programming class at age 9. And the class they were they were attending class for an hour or an hour and a half, but they were actually, for the rest of the time, they were going and walking through the business park here in Amman. And the business park here in Amman has different companies that are around them. And the lady who used to do the program used to tell them the stories of those companies walking in the business park. So every day there is a new story that they hear about a new company and how did it develop and what is the purpose of that company. So they understand the reasons, the purpose it was developed, and what they do in terms of as an example. So this is connecting international good practices or international practices with local stories, so it sticks for the student. And that's the balance we want to try and create between local and international, or local and foreign.
I think that's an excellent point you've raised, the balance local and international, or national identity and global citizenship. Dr.
Yes.
Hannah, how do we do that? How can moral education be integrated into our curriculum, Jordan, in a way that reflects both national identity and global citizenship?
You know, Dr. James, I always when I talk to the parents, and I keep telling them this is an international school, international teachers and international curriculum, but for the Jordanian, which is the focus should be that these kids, we always compare them to the tree, that they will have roots and they will have wings to fly. We want them to fly. We want them to be global citizenship. We want them to go outside abroad to have their education, but we want them back. They are Jordanians. They belong to the country. They have their own roots. So what we try to do is that we do not want to graduates who have close-minded. We need them to be open-minded. We want them to accept other cultures. We want them to at least not necessarily to adopt other values, but to give it a chance to think if this value is better than what I believe in. Maybe not. They should be open-minded, and we want them to be abroad, and we want them to think globally. But I don't want them ever to forget who they are, or to forget their roots, or to know that they have a responsibility to come back to serve their country as much as their country offered them. So it's not easy because it's a balance, and international education is very, very important. Otherwise, we wouldn't have it. And having expatriate teachers coming from outside with the different challenging mindsets and different methodology and pedagogy in teaching and learning is very essential for us. And however, we also do not want the students or their parents to lose perspective of who they are and what they end up doing in the future.
Yes, that's so well articulated. to travel to another country, to experience another culture, language, and its citizens. Some students, citizens, won't have that opportunity, Mr. Abed, though, to travel. How do you see this question then? This balance between the global citizenship and the national values.
Thank you, Dr. James. It's a tricky question, to be honest with you. The balance is usually it's hard to maintain. That's very true. And we also see this, by the way, we're saying international travel, but we also see this between cities and villages, for example. That's the same. That is also a balance that you want to create, keeping culture and keeping values from the mix between the local and the international. We usually look at this now with the openness of the world. I mean, right now we have thousands of people actually attending QRTA forum from different parts of the world. That by itself is actually trying to keep the balance between the different stories, whether on local or international scale. And I think this is something that we need to do more of. But there are several ways, of course, to do that. I mean, reading, there are new channels these days. Social media is full of great stories that you can read about. There are international and good practices as well, local, that can be looked at in terms of podcasts. There is a great also resource that our educators have been developing and usually use in education, which is really using case studies. So putting case studies into action within the curricula and within teaching has been one of the great stories that we do at QRTA. That also opens the world for teachers and for students.
Dr. Hannah, any final words on this?
Final words on this?
Cultural, yeah.
The world started to become like a village, and the difference between those who are traveling or not traveling is minimized nowadays, not like it used to be in the past with the social media. And the technology can have the experience of being outside the country or traveling. Not like exactly. I believe in traveling and open-mindedness and learning about other cultures or other languages, and I do believe in that. But when the opportunity doesn't provide itself and there are no means for that, I think the students nowadays are at a less disadvantage than it used to be in the past for those who cannot who cannot travel. Thank God for that. Yeah, and this is one of the advantage of the technology and the social media.
We're coming to the end of our session with us, and I want to give you time to reflect on what we've covered here expansively. Minute or two for each. What do you want to say that you didn't get a chance to talk about today, or a powerful takeaway, something practical, inspiring, or root in your practice you like to share with the hundreds of educators with us today?
Yeah.
Or an actionable recommendation for our school leaders or educators. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. This message is for Abed. Since they are in charge now of training the teachers, and they take this huge task on their shoulders, I think immediately add a course in teachers training programs on ethics. The same on the programs that are preparing leaderships for the future. If you don't have value, if you don't have ethics, if you don't have, being true to yourself, if you're not transparent, you can never be a good teacher. So please promise me this will be included in your future programs.
Well, thank you, Dr. Hannah.
For our new QRTA CEO. Yes, go ahead.
No, thank you very much. It's actually within our programs. We really put this as at the core of our programs. The question that comes to mind, to be honest, is I mean, we talk about citizenship, but what is it really? I mean, what are we trying to do? We're trying to grow good citizens. And when we think of that, what are the skills that we want those good citizens to have? And what are the practices that we want them to have? So, I mean, we see this in the streets, for example. We see this in dealing with people. We see this in good communication. We see this in good practices, good driving, for example, good driving around town. We see this in different ways. So this is not disconnected from teaching and from learning. They're all weaved together. So this is where I would say a message to our teachers that we usually think about and we usually put through. It's really teaching the different subjects is not disconnected from the real life world. And that's where new practices are coming in and new stories are coming in. And that's what we try at QRTA to always model within our programs, be it the teaching diploma, for example, for our in-service teachers and working with our teachers, or the different short courses that we do. And an important message also to keep in mind, no matter how technology develops. So today, everyone talks about AI, everything is AI at the moment. AI is only a tool, and you can use AI to embody ethics as well, and to practice ethics as well, and practice the different skills with students. So not to shift our mind from the base of our education. The base of our education is having good citizens, lifelong learners that are adapting to the future. So if you put those together, this is all in the same path.
Very many thanks. Mr. Abed and Dr. Hannah, thank you so much for your time and providing us with some clarity and deep thoughts and solutions to our notions of citizenship and teacher competencies. Good evening to all. Thank you. Shukran.
Dr. James. شكرا لك. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hannah. Thank you, James.
Abed.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.
That was so moving, Wafa. It reminded me that education isn't just about knowledge, it's about kindness, empathy, and humanity.
تماما يا حسين، التعليم في جوهره إنساني. المعلم الحقيقي هو الذي يزرع القيم قبل المعلومة.
Well said, Wafa. I couldn't agree more.